What is going on? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today it is the beginning of our next 3-round mock draft with trades. So if you are new, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Y'all know what to do. Below my face is my board. It is always changing, and there are a lot of new names that are continuing to be added to the list. So it is very exciting. We're going to have a lot of great content coming in, including a deep dive or a draft guide for every single one of the 32 teams. The Bears are already up, and we're going to be modifying this series going forward to add even a section based on cuts. So we go into free agency, do a 7-round mock draft, and we do a draft guide on every single round, what you should be doing. So those videos are awesome. Even though they're not going to get a lot of exposure, I know that y'all really appreciate the type of content, want to be able to diversify it as well. So stay tuned because your team is coming up soon. Of course, we're going to be doing all 22 tape studies starting this week. I tested out the theory with my buddy Keon, former co-host of the show, back in 2020. But, love Keon. He ended up hopping on. We ended up watching quite a few receivers and defensive backs, which is awesome. Got to be able to do that and then see, hey, does this actually continue to work out? It does, so join that Discord as well. You can watch it free there, and then I'll tell y'all when to jump into the membership profile where then you could watch the recorded versions after. So yes, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. It was awesome, and I am so stoked. Of course, positional rankings will be coming out ASAP. I just want to make sure that I've actually rewatched all of the players in all 22 because I think y'all deserve an honest opinion rather than me conjuring stuff out of thin air. Let's get right into this, though, starting off with the number 1 overall selection. We got the Chicago Bears, and this is, of course, going to be a beautiful trade for we're going to get Caleb Williams. We're going to be trading Justin Fields away. Justin Fields, he's a very talented quarterback. I love him. Just the odds are that he's going to be going to a different team because Caleb Williams is just as special, if not more special. He's going to be on a cheaper contract. He is he's a very talented quarterback. You don't pass on generational level quarterbacks. Like, yes, you could say we say that quite often, but Caleb Williams is the best prospect that I've graded at the quarterback position, which should also tell you the length of time that I've been grading quarterbacks. Anywho, we are going to be trading Justin to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's right now a negative 150 odds, which makes total sense, or maybe minus 125. It essentially means you're not really going to be making a return on your investment if you're putting money down for it. So for this series, I actually want to change it. I do think a 2nd-round pick is possible. I think it will be a 2nd and a conditional 5th. So essentially, it'll be a 5th-rounder if the Steelers don't re-sign Justin, a 4th-rounder if he plays next year, and then like a 3rd-rounder if they re-sign him. Similar to what they did with the Calvin Ridley trade, which, speaking of, I'm going to have to remember to be able to trade that 3rd-round pick. So we're going to assume that Calvin Ridley does not return. Otherwise, I would put a big dent into the Jaguars draft scheme. So we are going to be trading a 2nd-rounder as well as a 5th. Those of y'all who say Justin Fields is not worth that, please, for the love of God, just understand the trade value of quarterback. It's the most valuable position. This is a multi-year starter with a cannon arm who is shown to make unbelievable plays. If a team believes in his potential, I wouldn't be too surprised to see this be a 2nd and then a conditional 3rd. That could become a 2nd, which could become a 1st. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But for this situation, we are going to be trading Justin for that 52nd overall pick and a conditional 5th. Could be a 3rd and a conditional 5th. But I think the Bears are targeting that 2nd-rounder, and I think the Steelers will cave because we have absolutely nothing better to do with our 2nd-round pick at that point than to upgrade our quarterback position, because I hope we just don't use our 1st for it. Anyways, we are going to be going Caleb Williams. Already talked about him plenty throughout the past months, but, just a very special talent, very similar upside to Justin Fields, a little bit on the smaller side, but has better elusiveness rather than the pure strength that Justin Fields has. I love Justin Fields. I'm not going to try to say that he is in any way, shape, or form not an elite escape artist. I'm just saying Caleb Williams brings similar, if not better, escapability and playmaking. I think just Caleb Williams has the better processor, even though sometimes it slips up. We'll see what happens in the NFL, but he is an unbelievable prospect that you just do not want to miss out on. At pick 2 for the Washington Commanders, I have been thinking long and hard about this, and I've always wanted to trade out. I did that last week as well, which pissed off quite a few people. I love y'all, and I'm, that's the thing. What I do is out of love. Even if it makes y'all angry, I still love y'all. I am not going to be going after a trade with this pick. I will be going after Jayden Daniels, just full transparency. But the real reason why I'm not doing this is because people think that JJ McCarthy is a top 10 pick. And I'm unfortunately blending my board with realism. And I'm not going to give y'all a skewed draft anymore that has JJ McCarthy falling to the second. As much as I think he should, he is apparently extremely loved by NFL front offices. And if people love JJ McCarthy, I think that they're also going to love Jayden Daniels. I don't think it's not a one-to-one, but essentially, apparently teams are not very excited about the next quarterback class, and they don't want to be stuck in a very similar situation to, speaking of the Steelers, drafting Kenny Pickett. That isn't my line. That is, I'm forgetting who it is, but I think it might have been Albert Brewer who tweeted that out. Essentially, teams are scared that if they don't get a quarterback this year, they're going to be screwed next year. So Jayden Daniels is going to be the selection. For the New England Patriots, I'm heavily considering Marvin Harrison Jr. here. I think Drake Maye would be the choice if that would be, if he ends up falling to this point. By the way, the reason I took Jayden Daniels is because I think he fits Cliff Kingsbury just so much better. The mobility is just going to be totally maximized under Cliff. He likes to use the outside of the field. Jayden does have issue being able to scan the inside of the field. So processing-wise, it's to his strengths also. For those of y'all who think Jayden Daniels was a bum a couple years ago, I am one of you. I am. I thought this guy was an absolute bum. Dude had over 50% uncatchable throw rate. That's just crap. But all of a sudden, this guy's throwing dots to, receivers moving extremely fast speeds. You don't do that out of luck. You don't. So, even somebody like me who is very pessimistic about Jayden Daniels, I understand that and respect that progression happens when players really want it to. And I think he did make that massive leap from ASU to LSU. Pick number 3, though, we are going to be going Drake Maye. Talked about it. This team, I think, should be at least considering Marvin Harrison Jr., but I'm not going to throw a little wrench into here. I'm going to be going after Drake Maye. This is a team that needs to get that quarterback position right. Zappy could work well with Marvin Harrison Jr., but, at the end of the day, you need to be able to prioritize your quarterback position because it's the biggest wins above replacement position you have. And technically, I could have maybe traded back with the Patriots, got maybe Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. That's a situation for another week. That's something I don't feel comfortable this week talking about that. I know as time goes on and the rumors start becoming more and more official, that's when I get more ballsy with the big trades. So Drake Maye will be becoming a Patriot. Again, I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. should be at least on their radar because they've not shown any ability to draft down the board, especially in the second round. They just have not done a very good job drafting receivers or in the late first. So could be a way to counter their drafting philosophy, but it is a new regime. So we'll see what happens. Pick number 4 for the Arizona Cardinals. It feels like Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust. I'm not going to overthink this one. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best player in the draft. He just is essentially a perfect wide receiver. Maybe not the most explosive guy on planet Earth, but you cannot have one negative on Marvin Harrison Jr. I will admit when I watch him, I don't get overly excited because he doesn't have one specific trait that is mind-boggling. But, that's just because we are so used to box office Malik Neighbors that we're just comfortable with Marvin Harrison Jr. just doing his thing. For the Chargers, we are going to have them probably take Malik Neighbors, Joe Alt, or Brock Bowers. Those are the 3 guys who I consider for this pick. I do want to toss in a couple other names, though. I think Terrion Arnold is going to be loved by the NFL. Is a sneaky spot for him to go. They need a corner 2 or a corner 1 and move Asante to corner 2. And this could be the perfect spot for him to go, especially after having some really talented corners there at Michigan. Corners were kind of a backbone of Michigan's success. I would say they could end up cutting Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Very dark horse spot for Dallas Turner to come in and pair up with Tuli Tuipulotu for the future. I don't think that happens, but it is something to watch. That being said, the Chargers could also trade out of this spot. You have just really, really talented weapons here. And, quarterback also available. I'm not going to do that with JJ McCarthy. I would lose my marbles if that happened. I really would. I think it's a PR scheme to say he's like quarterback 2 on some teams' list. So I think Joe Alt is a potential option. People are loving the idea of him just being a massive asset as a run blocker. But, Brock Bowers feels like a Harbaugh type of guy. Could end up trading out and getting a team move up for Malik Neighbors. I mean, that is possible, but there's just no teams that are within striking range that I think would be that desperate for Malik. You could look at the Falcons here, who do need a wide receiver too. That would be a good spot for them. Good range as well for a trade back, but the Falcons have so many other issues that it just doesn't make sense for them to. So I actually might go the Joe Alt route because, again, he's seen Joe Alt face to face, and Joe Alt's just a consistent tackle. However, I think that he's going to throw something into the works that is a little bit more unique, and it's going to be Talise Fuaga. I'm going to go after the true best right tackle in the class. He loves run blocking. This guy is a better run blocker than Joe Alt ever will be. And I like Joe Alt. Joe Alt's number 6 on my board. But if you want to get a right tackle, this guy is your dude. He needs to develop a little bit as an offensive or as a pass blocker, but my Lord, this guy is an absolute freak. Extremely athletic in open space as well. He is my highest graded offensive lineman since Evan Neal. I know. But all of us loved Evan Neal as a left tackle. Another reason why I would not move Joe Alt. I just think if a guy works at a position, it's just scary to believe that he might not, or he might work at a different one because there's a chance that it doesn't translate. Joe Alt probably would translate, but Talise Fuaga is the better choice in my eyes. At pick number 6 for the New York Giants, I'm going to be going Malik Neighbors here. There's no need to overthink it. He's an explosive weapon. This team's been looking for an explosive weapon for a very, very long time since Odell Beckham Jr. So go back to the spot where you got Odell there at LSU and get your next prize piece. Pick 7 for the Titans, Joe Alt. Again, just a perfect compliment to Peter Skoronski. This is a match made in heaven. I think that there's no better pick in the first round for the Titans than Joe Alt. Even if every single player were available, maybe I would take Caleb Williams and trade Will Levis, even though I love Will Levis, but that's how highly I think Joe Alt would it's pretty much between him and Marvin Harrison Jr. as the best pick for the Titans, regardless of where they're at. At pick number 8 for the Atlanta Falcons, Rome Odunze is surprising me. I ended up rewatching him last night, and I'm still not nearly as high as the consensus is on him. I have him as a late first, and that's still a very, very good grade from me. I don't think he's a very solid route runner, especially when it comes to the hard cuts. He's just not very twitchy in terms of the change of direction. Fluid mover in space. I love that about him. He can generate separation. In the red zone, this guy's going to be a beast. And the thing I honestly love about him most, this guy's an animal as a run blocker. This team does need a wide receiver too, pretty damn desperately. They also need some edge rushing help, but I'm starting to believe in that round 2 edge rushing class. So, sorry, Bears. I've been doing this for a hot second. I know that a lot of people believe that, Raheem Morris, who is defensively minded, is going to love Dallas Turner, and he is. But this wide receiver class is a little bit more overblown than I think people are trying to give it credit for. Rome Odunze brings the heat when it comes to just being an absolute asset. Also played through a punctured lung and a broken rib. Power to you, bro. Honestly, power to you. But this guy as a blocker really made me fall in love with him. And I'll probably boost him up a bit more on my board because of that. And, you guys know I love a player when I change my entire grading scale. I changed my entire grading scale to fit Rome in as a higher prospect because I realized I am desperate for a blocking category. So I actually threw frame outside the window because there's just receivers who succeed at every single frame at this point. And blocking is something I really do care about. As a former offensive lineman, I know, doesn't look like it. Hallelujah. But Rome Odunze, he's someone who I really appreciate and want to show him the love that he deserves. Pick number 9 for the Bears. Again, we did that trade for Justin Fields with the Pittsburgh Steelers, as projected. And looking at the options available, could end up trading back. Again, Brock Bowers is here. I do think that he should be at least a trade back target. I think this is a great opportunity for a team like the Saints to go up and get their left tackle of the future. Ryan Ramczyk apparently talked to the GM. Thank you, guys. I love my Saints fans. They're very, very vocal and help me out quite a bit. Ryan Ramczyk said that he's going to be coming back, but that left tackle spot's complete cheeks. I think this would be a prime opportunity for a team like the Saints to move up and get their tackle of the future. They don't have very many picks, I will admit, but this is a great opportunity for them to and for the Bears, for example, to move back and still get a talented edge rusher, but for the Bears or for the Saints to go up and get their guy. I think this is going to be heavily future pick based. I do think this will require a future second round pick. I don't think we could end up doing a pick swap here, for example, where the Saints end up moving back a couple spots, so the Bears actually end up moving up. I think that'd be smart. Essentially, what you don't want to do is take a ton of draft capital from this year. And I think the Bears are fine. Maybe you could toss in Phillies pick 200 just to give a little bit more juice to the Bears, but not too much. So that's going to be actually the trade right there. Feel free to modify the rest of it how you like. It's not going to affect the mock draft, but the Bears essentially are going to be trading with the Saints. Get that pick swap. And so, yeah, there we go. The Saints move up and select Olu Fashanu. They've said they've been willing to be aggressive, and I'm going to put them to the test. And again, we're not going to be using too much of your later picks. I know. Could end up trading back in round 2 and acquiring a little bit more of that as well. But you need that left tackle spot desperately. It's the most valuable position on that offensive line, and Olu Fashanu is an absolute stud. You also jump the Jets, who would have been my prime target to be able to select him. For the New York Jets, offensive tackle, I've heard that they've wanted to go to free agency for that as well if they don't get the right value. And I think they're going to be looking at a weapon here. If you don't get your offensive tackle, it is going to be a weapon. You're not going to get a starting caliber tackle there at 72. You might get a starting caliber weapon, but, it's still, you just go to free agency at this point. Amarius Mims is a guy who I think would be great, but again, I've taken him here before, and my logic is this dude's going to be a longer-term investment. This team's not looking for a longer-term investment. They're looking to bounce back right now and take a dub. And if you're going to be taking a dub, you got to make sure that you get the best of the best. And this team does not have really good receiving weapons. The best receiving weapon by far on the board is Brock Bowers. The tight end position is not even secured in the first place, but Brock Bowers plays everywhere. This is a guy that it's a longer-term investment, but with immediate impact. That's a little bit more of the speed that I think the Jets would be looking for. Get your tackle in free agency and get your weapon now. Pick number 11 for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm scared for y'all. I am really scared. I think that edge rusher is the smartest thing to do. And, I just know that's the smartest thing to do. I have to put some form of realism in here, though. Apparently an NFC team has him as their QB2. If Brett Coleman even agrees, it feels like it's going to be a Vikings thing. And I hate that. I do. I think JJ, so this is going to be essentially, the NFL works in trends, right? It's going to be a trend based off of Jordan Love's development. He was a toolsy guy who came out, didn't have the best production on planet Earth, but had the it factor and just needed to have experience and time to be into becoming a top tier quarterback. Now, I don't think Jordan Love is a top tier quarterback just yet, but he's definitely on pace to be able to at least succeed and be worth that first round selection. JJ McCarthy is going to be looked at very similarly. Young, powerful arm, highlight level throws, not as consistent as you need to be. This is a team that I think would be willing to take a shot on that. Kwesi doesn't give a damn. He doesn't. You know that. You know that. Deep down, you know. He doesn't give a damn what you think. He gave up on Kyle Hamilton to get Andrew Booth and Lewis Cine. He doesn't care. He's willing to make picks that even if they end up failing, he's going to make them his way. And that could end up being a positive or a negative. JJ McCarthy could end up developing into an extremely talented quarterback, and this is a team that has really talented weapons. It could end up working out. I am sorry, but this is the pick I will make. I hate it because of the fact that deep down, I think I owe y'all what you should do. And that's why I'm explaining it for so long. But I think this is what happens. Because even if you bring back Kirk for a year or two, which I think would be a very smart move, very tough with the cap situation, I know. But it might be the best move for you. JJ is going to be a longer-term investment. And then you get Justin Jefferson, you get Jordan Addison, you get TJ Hawkinson for JJ McCarthy. That is a very working strategy. It is a workable strategy. So it will end up being eventually worth this pick 11, but I just wish I gave you something that had a quicker return on investment. At pick 12 for the Denver Broncos, talked about this earlier, Darian Arnold actually might go at number 5 overall. Like, there's some guys in this class that are being extremely highly valued. People love Terry Arnold in the NFL, including myself. He's my corner one. He's just extremely smart, can play anywhere, and has a great fluid build. I love it for him. He's going to be going at this selection to the Broncos. I think that the NFL is going to be a little bit lower on the corners on day 2 than maybe we expect, and maybe a little bit higher on the corners on day 1, hence the need for speed, so to speak. Looking at pick 13, this is a great opportunity to trade back. There's some awesome edge rushers here, and I think the Raiders could totally use a little bit more draft capital to kind of hit on what they're looking for. I'm seeing right now the edge rushers in Dallas Turner and Jared Verse. I don't think they're going to get past pick 13 or 14, and I do see 2 teams right here that I maybe would be willing to take an edge rusher for in Indianapolis as well as Chicago. Spoiler alert, Chicago's going to be taking whatever's left over. But I'm looking at a team maybe like the Philadelphia Eagles. They're a dark horse team to go after one of these edge rushers like Dallas Turner. We're already talking about Hassan Reddick being a potential trade target because, he has 1 year left. He is coming off multiple years of 10-plus sacks. The dude is very talented, but you are going to be potentially looking for an edge rusher who could cover, kind of be your Andrew Van Ginkel, so to speak, with Dallas Turner here. Other teams that do need that top-tier edge rusher, I could see the Lions getting really ballsy because Dallas Turner would be a massive asset. But even teams like the Rams that are looking for a Jared Verse. You could even talk about, again, we talked about the Eagles. We could talk about right now with Jonathan Grenard up for a contract. We could talk about the Houston Texans. The Dallas Cowboys are another team. So I think actually we're going to do the semi-smart decision. And I know that a lot of people are going to want a corner here for why do I want to say the Broncos so badly? For the Colts, but you cannot pass on a Jared Verse when your future at the edge rushing position still doesn't have somebody who's an alpha. This is a great opportunity. It's a 3rd round pick, maybe at most. Like, I'm actually going to end up trading. We're actually going to do a 4th round pick and then a future 4th as well to make this super small jump. Super small jump. And I think this is good value for the Raiders as well to just give them a little bit more depth. But you might say, why would the Colts jump the Bears? Because I don't think Dallas Turner is the type of edge rusher you'll go for. I think you respect the frame of 260 pounds of Jared Verse a little bit more than the Bears do. So we're going to be going Jared Verse here. Again, super small trade, but he's a very, very talented corner. At pick number 14, the Chicago Bears are going to be going after Dallas Turner. I mean, he's the best edge rusher in the class. He just has a different frame than Jared Verse. Jared Verse is a beast. No disrespect for him, but Dallas Turner at 242 plays like he's 255, and he is a freak in terms of athleticism. I think he'll get up to 250 by the combine and then test out very, very well. Could end up being the first edge rusher off the board, but I think Jared Verse with that extra 10 pounds just fits systems a little bit better than Dallas Turner would, but cannot complain either way. But we're back with the Vegas Raiders, and I think this is the prime opportunity to go after Nate Wiggins, cornerback out of Clemson. Just very smart, very fluid. He's a little bit on the lighter side, which might be what scares some teams, but he can add a little bit extra weight to that frame. Definitely more room to add weight to that frame. Needs to be a little more aggressive in the box, but I absolutely adore his natural instincts. At pick 16 for Seattle, a lot of really solid options, including Jackson Powers-Johnson here. But I see Amarius Mims is on the board, and I'm not going to say I'm going to take him for the Seahawks. Could be a good position if you end up seeing Abe Lucas wanting to bow out. But there are some teams that are looking for offensive tackle help. I'm not going to trade in division, but the Niners should try to make a move for him. This is a good opportunity, though, for a team that might be wanting to get their right tackle of the future. And I wish Pittsburgh had their 2nd round pick. I wish they did, because this would be instantly the move for both Seattle and Pittsburgh, because they're not going to take another 3rd round pick. That's not going to happen. It's too far of a trade value for that. Unfortunately, I think they are actually going to have to stay put. And I could go Amarius and end up kicking him to guard for the short term. That'd be ridiculous. Dream pick here would be Talise Fuaga, because you can use him as a guard in the short and then move him to tackle in case Abe Lucas is getting too many owies. I, though, will actually go after interior offensive lineman here with Jackson Powers-Johnson. The Seahawks are extremely value the run game. Jackson Powers-Johnson's an absolute beast. Takes him away from the Jaguars, which I was really hoping I could send him to the Jaguars in this episode, but Jackson Powers-Johnson just a little bit too valuable in my opinion. But we need to trade this 79th overall pick, by the way, because this is part of the Calvin Ridley trade. It is. So we need to get, where is Atlanta at? Where the hell is it? Where's an A? Dude, I'm blind. I was about to say I'm bald. I'm definitely not bald, thank God. But no disrespect to bald people. We love you, but I would not look as good as you do when I'm bald. So we're going to be sending the 79th pick, by the way, to Atlanta because that's part of the Calvin Ridley trade. It was a conditional fourth that became a third, and now if they re-sign him, it will become a second, but we're not going to be doing that. But I think this is a great opportunity to trade out. I think a defensive back later on or, another interior offensive lineman just fits a little bit better. And with Amarius Mims on the board, this is within striking range for the Steelers. Like, this could be a move that they make, con master class type shit, but the Steelers need a defensive back pretty badly too. I think they'd be willing to sit and wait. I am actually going to trade up with the San Francisco 49ers because they have so many damn picks. They need to get aggressive. And, I think that maybe we'll be able to smooch this on by, get essentially 3 third-round picks, just like they did last year. They're going to blow one on another kicker somehow, some way. But I think this is proper value for this range. Maybe you can toss in some extras, but, hell, I'll just offer it. San Francisco accepts. The Jaguars get another second-round pick and move back, but essentially the value's not good for them, and the value's great for San Francisco to be able to go Amarius Mims, superstar tackle out of Georgia. Could have went a corner there, sure, but, Colton McKivitz is just not going to be the guy for the long run. He's not. Amarius Mims could be, and I could just say, yeah, corner was available, but, man, there's something about Amarius Mims being trained up by Trent Williams that it hits me. It hits me good. So, Amarius Mims, the selection there for San Fran. Pick 18 for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think it will be J.C. Latham. There's a couple picks that I would like to mention here. I think that they could go after a wide receiver. I think there should be a tag and trade on T. Higgins, to be fair. So you got Brian Thomas here. You have even Keon Coleman, who is kind of been forgotten about, but he should be in the mix. If you're going to get rid of T. Higgins, that should be in the mix. But even guys like Ladd McConkey, who I absolutely adore, they're guys who I do expect to be on the Bengals' radar. Also, Jerzon Newton, Byron Murphy, those dudes I also expect to be on their radar. But with your right tackle being up for a contract, I fully expect J.C. Latham to come in and replace a Bama tackle with a Bama tackle. So it's just the proper value. You're also essentially disarming the Steelers of their future at right tackle, which is always a bonus if you're a fan of the Bengals. And it kicks me in the nuts because I'm a Steelers fan, but that shows you that I have no allegiance in these mock drafts. Pick number 19 for the Los Angeles Rams. Cooper DeJean's a dark horse pick here. They love their versatility in that secondary. Of course, they don't have Raheem Morris anymore, but Quinion Mitchell probably is the most likely pick. He's the guy with the most momentum, and he's a really good corner. He is. I'm not going to shame on him. I've already talked about it in a couple other of my videos, and I will do it in my corner breakdown, but I sometimes don't like the body language he has when he loses. That's something that's easily fixable, especially with maturity in the league. So I do think quarterback's a slight need here. And, I'm not going to take a quarterback, but I want to be able to mention that. Defensive interior, though, Kobe Turner, Byron Murphy, kind of a nice duo. Leatu Latu as well. But, of course, the edge rushing class did get a little bit better at 51. We could try to target another one. The cornerback class is not going to be good enough there. Quinion Mitchell fits the physical profile and physicality that the Rams look for in their boundary corners. And with Ahkello Witherspoon being gone, hopefully not for their sake because he was actually really talented, but Quinion Mitchell going to be the dude. Pick number 20 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got Kool-Aid McKinstry here. Probably going to be the best choice. Unfortunately, Jackson Powers-Johnson, which is one of the dream picks. It's pretty much JPJ as well as Amarius Mims. Those are our dream picks, not available. Terrion Arnold, technically also one of those. So looking at the options available, you got Kool-Aid and Ennis Rakestraw. Cooper DeJean could be a really good weapon, but I think he's going to be best as a safety. And I feel like we need to get a boundary corner situation solved before safety. That's my opinion. I know that a lot of y'all disagree because Cooper DeJean's a beast. I'm going to be going Kool-Aid here. I think Kool-Aid's fantastic. I don't know why people hate him so much. Like, there's just been this negative sentiment on him being like an early second round pick. But I do think there are those teams like the Steelers who don't even have a second round pick in this situation that will be like, I'm willing to take him. And with only 2 cornerbacks that are, like, in my opinion, very solid. Technically 3. You got Renardo Green coming up too. But 3 cornerbacks that are really solid on the board. I don't trust the value of a trade back. And I know that my Steelers, my Yinzers would be killing me if I traded back and ended up getting Renardo Green in the first. Like, I would actually be excommunicado. But at pick 21 for the Dolphins, you got Jayden Newton here. You also have Byron Murphy. It's hard to say no to him. Troy has been, Fautanu has been a major target in most mock drafts for the Dolphins because his ability to play tackle in case of a retirement for Terron Armstead, and also his ability to play interior offensive line. He is my number 24 player in the class at interior offensive line, so I think that'd be a very smart move. It's tough to see the defensive interior slip a little bit, though. And I think this team needs to recoup some picks, and this is actually a really good interior offensive line class. I'm going to have this pick be a trade back, and I know y'all have been clamoring for a trade back. And with the defensive interiors on the board, with Leatu Latu on the board as well, I think teams might get a little bit aggressive. The Cowboys, for example, I think should be trying to get to this pick. Looking at the options, they could easily snag Leatu Latu from the Eagles, but also I think Byron Murphy is a great choice for the Cowboys. And, the Eagles are lurking, and so are, well, not the Eagles, apologies, but the Texans are lurking. I think it's a great choice, but Jayden Newton's available. They're not going to be overly aggressive for it. I don't think the Cardinals are in the mood to spend their draft capital to move up for one of them. But I do see a team that I haven't moved up with very much, but can you imagine the Lions being able to snag Jayden Newton or Byron Murphy? I mean, this team has been looking for that penetrating defensive tackle since last year. You got Broderick Martin in the 3rd round. I don't know what's up with that. But right now, according to our lines, you have Tyson Alualu, who I love as a Steelers fan, but he's not the answer. You have him listed as your defensive tackle 1. But this team also needs a corner. They also need a corner. And there's not going to be one there. We're making a move with the Lions. That's the bottom line. We're making a move with the Detroit Lions. And we have actually a good amount of draft capital. I do think this might take a little bit more than pick 73. So we'll send our conditional 4 as well. Thank you, PFF, for not actually helping me out with this trade. But there's only going to be 1 pick that actually affects it. Feel free to modify it for yourself. Miami gets their 3rd round pick, moves back. Detroit moves up. And it's pretty much down to Jayden Newton, Ennis Rakestraw, as well as Byron Murphy. With the lack of corners in this class that I think are true boundaries, got to go Ennis Rakestraw. Also, I think Ennis could be a dark horse candidate for the Philadelphia Eagles, which we are now at the Eagles pick. You got Leatu Latu here. He's going to be the easy selection. Josh Sweat, I think, has 1 more year left on his contract. Also will be up for contract talks then. Then we're also potentially losing out on Hassan Reddick, which could factor that trade in here. I don't know if I will, but if I were to get rid of Hassan, could go to Atlanta. Maybe I could send pick 74, which I know, people say it could be a 2nd round pick. I don't think it's going to be pick 43. It would probably be pick 74 and allow the Eagles to have a little bit more flexibility. Could do that because now the Falcons have another 3rd round pick. It's not a bad idea. Get Raheem Morris, his true edge rusher. That wouldn't be an awful idea. Other ideas for where he could end up going. Technically, Tampa Bay is a sneaky spot. I don't think that's where he actually ends up, though. But, Minnesota, they could be looking to get that nice quick little addition there. Chargers as well. I think we need to factor in Hassan trade. I'm going to send the 79th pick for Hassan Reddick. That might piss people off. We'll see as time goes on what the actual value. Of course, they haven't even updated the player list. So we got that still in here. But we'll send 74. Sorry, Falcons fans. But Hassan Reddick goes there to Atlanta, solves that problem. And then now Philly has another pick before 97. This allows us to have a little more flexibility. Therefore, I'm going to go after Laiatu Latu, edge rusher out of UCLA. Has a little bit shorter on the arm length, has a little bit issue with his lower body power generation, but besides that, everything else is incredible. Great upper body strength, great mobility, ankle flexion, etc. Very smart player as well, which is a big step up from last year. At pick 23 for the Houston Texans, we're going Byron Murphy here. He is about 310 pounds, 20 years old, absolute monster, also stays in Texas. Pick 24 for the Dallas Cowboys. Want to go after an offensive tackle for this team, but I need to change things up. I've been going Tyler Guyton for the past 3 times. I'm going Jerzon Johnny Newton, defense interior out of Illinois. We need a compliment there for our beloved, I was about to say Chris Jenkins, but Mozzie Smith. And Jerzon Newton's going to be a big, big addition for that. Pick 25 for the Packers. Hate to be the same old, but if Cooper DeJean's here, there's nothing better. This team needs a Cooper DeJean more than anything. More than, like, we could erase sliced bread from history in terms of how valuable Cooper DeJean. I'd rather have Cooper DeJean to the Packers than sliced bread in general. Like, I will personally hand slice my bread for the rest of my life just to have Cooper DeJean on the Packers. That's how damn good of a pick it would be. Pick 26, though, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brian Thomas is here. I think a team might want to make a move up for him. Also, Tyler Guyton is available. Might have a team that gets a little bit anxious and wants to move up for him, because I'm seeing the Patriots right here. They need to get a right tackle, and I think they'll be calling. I think they'll be calling Tampa and be like, yo, get us our guy. Like, let's go. We need to do it. But I think there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction. And there's going to be a force that just wants to get their guy just a little bit more. They just need one pick jump. And I know my Cardinals fans are going to hate this, but it's either going to be Tyler Guyton or bust at this point. And so we're going to send maybe a 4th round pick for this. Maybe this is a little too much. Feel free to negotiate yourselves. Maybe I'll toss in pick 204 to make you feel happier. Like, who really cares that much? We'll toss in a 6th round pick next year. We're going to make this small trade. Pick 26, again, could have ended up being the other pick, could have ended up being a higher pick that we got in return, but we're going to make this tiny, tiny move up to select Tyler Guyton because he is the best and only tackle that is respectable left on the board. So, got to make sure that we get our proper value there. At pick number 27, we're back with the Buccaneers. I have another team that's calling. Ring, progresso. It is the damn Kansas City Chiefs. And they're like, yo, you got a baller wide receiver on the board that we are desperate for. And Tampa Bay's like, I'm listening. And they're saying, we're going to send you our 3rd round pick. Because think about it, that trade value, I think that is kind of ridiculous. We're going to send our 3rd round pick to you. You don't have to give us anything in return. We're going to send our 3rd round pick to you. Yeah, I should have probably traded back with a different pick for Arizona. Not going to affect the mock draft, though. So take it easy. Kansas City's going to trade up with their 3rd round pick to select Brian Thomas Jr. Going to steal him right from the Bills. So Tampa Bay gets a good amount of draft capital, and then they end up going berserk and letting Tyler Guyton and Brian Thomas come off the board. At pick 28 for the Buffalo Bills, wanted to go after Brian Thomas, but I'm pretty happy with Troy Franklin as a consolation prize. 6'3", 190 pounds, a little bit on the lighter side, but this dude is just so fluid as a route runner. I love him to death. I think Brian Thomas just fits exactly what the Chiefs and Bills want a little bit better, but I think I'll be perfectly happy with Troy Franklin. Maybe I just would have wanted Brian Thomas just a hair more. At pick number 29, we're back with the Dolphins, and you still got Troy Fautanu here, or Fautanu, whatever the hell you pronounce it. We're going to take him. We got our 3rd round pick in return, and we're ending up getting a star that could play tackle in case of injury or retirement, and is going to be an elite interior offensive lineman. At pick 30 for the Baltimore Ravens, wide receiver is a great choice here. I actually think Ladd McConkey could be the guy to replace Odell Beckham Jr. Ladd McConkey is a freak. Obviously, we got to meet him there in Mobile. That was really fun. Good dude. Got a picture with him. Feel free to follow the Instagram as well, because I posted it over there. I don't really shout it out very often, but I've been posting over there a lot more than usual. But taking stock of who's still available, some people want to go Kamari Lassiter. I'm not there yet with Kamari, and I like Kamari. It's just I don't think he's going to be a Ravens style of corner. So I will be going after wide receiver here. And Keon Coleman excites me, but I think we're trying to replace Odell Beckham Jr. And I think Ladd McConkey might play himself into the first. This dude might run in the 4.3s, if not 4.2s. He's just so explosive on tape. People just don't give him credit because we're watching Malik Neighbors side by side, essentially. Like, Malik Neighbors is the explosive guy of the class, but it's kind of hard to outclass Malik Neighbors' athleticism, and Ladd McConkey gets pretty damn close. At pick 31 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm going to actually look at wide receiver here. We traded back, might even get Jordan Morgan, but we ended up trading back and getting our extra picks here. And of course, ended up trading some of that draft capital back. But, we ended up getting some good consolation prizes. We still could trade back and get a little bit more in that third round, but who cares? We got that extra second round pick for us right there. So we're going to be fine in terms of interior offensive line. I think if we don't have Calvin Ridley, we need a wide receiver. And Keon Coleman, we're going to keep him in state. 5 years for a guy who's 6'4", 215 pounds. It could be a true wide receiver one. Sign me up. This is going to be the T. Higgins replacement, essentially, for Trevor Lawrence. It's not a replacement because he doesn't have him, but it's going to be essentially T. Higgins reincarnate for him. And at pick 32 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think they're still waiting. They're still listening to the lines. And there's some good quarterbacks on the board. And, there should be some teams trying to move up for him. Now, there's not that many teams that are going to be that ballsy. But, because, unfortunately, we saw Minnesota take J.J. McCarthy. God forbid. But looking at the options, I could see New York saying, got some good QBs here. Same time, don't really know if the QBs are that valuable. Like, do you need that 5th-year contract when they're this old? Like, you're not going to be developing them for a 5th year. If you're there by that time and you know that they're worth a second contract, you're going to have already paid them, and you're not going to do that 5th-year contract. You're going to pay them. So there's that factor as well. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to try to get someone to dance with, and they're going to have absolutely nobody who wants to hang out. We're going to go Graham Barton, though, instead. Very versatile interior offensive lineman out of Duke, has been recruited as a center, can play guard, has played tackle as well. That versatility does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. That is going to be the video today. Again, check out tomorrow for rounds 2 and 3. It's 2 days, just like the NFL draft. See you on the far side.